The global maritime industry has been severely impacted by the coronavirus since the virus was first reported in the city of Wuhan in China in December last year. 7 months down the line, the world is still trying to figure out on how to deal with this crisis. The United Nations calls this a humanitarian crisis that is brewing in the sea and even on the land, with more than 200,000 seafarers still stuck abroad. How has Kenya been impacted by this crisis? Joining us tonight on Inside Government is Principal Secretary in the State Department of Maritime Affairs, Nancy Karigithu. Thank you so very much indeed, Madam Pierce, for your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to join you and talk to Kenyans about how we are navigating this new normal.
3 months ago, we discussed with you this crisis and how it has impacted the Kenyan maritime industry. And the question is, 3 months down the line, how is the situation on the ground?
3 months down the line, we are wiser. We are trying to adapt. We are trying to position Kenya, especially the maritime industry, how to deal or how to survive the new normal. And we are trying to put into place the building blocks, as UNEP director said, to future-proof Kenya, particularly the industry, to position the country on the path to recovery and to adapt to the new normal in management of COVID-19. Because it's here, we'll live with it and there'll be life after COVID. And so what we are doing is to put in place measures that ensure that our young people particularly can still take advantage of the opportunities that are there in the maritime sector, but in a safe manner. What we have found is that, and you've mentioned it, it's a new humanitarian crisis. 200,000 and more counting are stuck up in ships at sea, but then the corresponding number of the same is on land, not able to take up the jobs that they should have taken at sea, and therefore reducing their earning capacity, because this is money for Kenya, that those are foreign remittances coming back. And therefore, all round, it's really shaken up the economy and also employment.
We definitely understand that new normal means different things to different industries. How can you describe to us the new normal in the maritime industry?
The new normal means that we are able to facilitate seafarers to sign for work on board ships, but at the same time balancing that they do not cross-contaminate, cross-infect. That the seafarers we are sending on board to continue working or to relieve the ones who are currently stuck are COVID-free, and we can reassure or we can assure the ship owner that they are not taking an infection on board. But then correspondingly is to ensure that those who are signing off, as we call it in the industry, are also not coming on land to infect others, and creating the circumstances that ensure that balance in health within the World Health Organization protocols and recommendations. That's our new normal. That's going to be our new normal.
According to the International Maritime Organization, as you have rightly put it, over 200,000 seafarers or workers who operate from, in the ships, are stuck either on ships, and another 200,000 are stuck on foreign land. Do we have a number of how many Kenyans have been categorized as stuck on land or either stuck, on foreign ships?
Let me say that by the time COVID brought us into the situation we are, we were in a situation or in a position when we could say that we were taking off. We had just done a very elaborate exercise for shortlisting of our young Kenyans who had been promised opportunities on not less than 3 shipping companies. We had Bahri, who had now told us they are going to come back and take who we call ratings. They've just offered opportunities on board. We had Mediterranean Shipping Company, which had also given us a new order. And we had a company that was interested in coming on board called Apogem. Of course, as you know, all those opportunities are now frozen. We also had a good number of Kenyans, 500 plus, who are already serving on board ships. Those ones had to come back. Their contracts are frozen, meaning they are not earning money. They are in a state of, joblessness, and not knowing when they may go back, when the situation will get back to normal. So we could say that we've been affected. The ones who were already on board, we've managed to bring almost 300 and more, 390. They've come back home, but those are people who are not earning money, but who are used and who had a modicum of, confidence that they were going to continue earning money. And for us, or from where I sit, getting them back, giving them the hope that their jobs are still possible, that's the biggest issue that we are dealing with at the moment.
Mm-hmm. How sure are they? I mean, we definitely know that, shipping lines, have been impacted, and the shipping industry is likely to get into a severe downturn this year. How soon do we expect the situation to normalize so that these Kenyans plus more can get back their jobs?
Okay, like I told you, we're trying to position this country in a recovery mode, and therefore following very closely what's happening in the international arena. You know that on 10th of July, the World International Maritime Organization led the shipping industry to hold a summit where governments and private sector, all interested stakeholders were urged to put in place measures that will enable the humanitarian crisis to ease. Let me give you a picture of what we are looking at. Before COVID, when life was normal, every month it's estimated that 150,000 seafarers signed on or signed off on ships. What that meant is that they use air travel because the connectivity between the shipping lines and the workers is through aviation. Now, when the world closed the travel modes, then it meant that they were shut out. With IMO urging governments to put in place measures, but within the recommendations of World Health Organization to ensure that the shipping companies are able to change their crew. Kenya took early opportunity to join the governments that are able to facilitate this. And working with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Kenya Ports Authority, the Immigration Department, we can say that we've set the pace in Africa to be able to facilitate food change. And this is good for us because we are positioning the country for recovery post-COVID. I want to say that it's too early yet to know what's going to happen, or we don't have the clear picture as yet. Mm-hmm. But I want to share some good news that today, as we speak now, one of our young people, Elizabeth Marami, is on her way to Miami to join a ship as a second officer. For me, that is a cause for celebration, that we are positioning ourselves and we are giving hope to the young people that will still come back to this. Now, based on our opening up for food change also, we've been approached and we've been given the go-ahead to process 27 of our young people to go back and work, to go back to their jobs. And for me, this is an indicator that we are still going to be players in the industry. And for us, sending the sign that we are ready for business and we are ready to work with the international maritime fraternity to find solutions and not just sit back and moan. For me, this is something very, very positive, because for those young people that we've been told may go back, it means that the company taking them would have had options, with any other nationality. Yeah. But the fact that Kenya has opened up for food change means that now we have an opportunity for our people to go. And while these 27 have been given the go-ahead to sign, the target is the ones who already had visas. Therefore, they are able to travel, and therefore, all they need to do is get the necessary documentation, like the medical vaccinations that have been now prescribed by the World Health Organization, and also for them to get, connections to flights. Kenya is opening up her skies again, and the flights will be opening on 1st of August. So some of these measures, people may not realize, but these are what are yielding us some of these results. And we can only future-proof our economy and our country and our young people, and the hope that we had already started giving them by these measures that we are taking.
Since the outbreak of the coronavirus and the disruptions in the shipping lines, do we have any Kenyan who has tested positive while on board these ships?
We started putting in place measures way before even because we had interaction with them outside the country and we knew what they were going on. And we put in measures very early. In fact, we are the ones who approached the Ministry of Health long before the mandatory quarantine had been put in place. And therefore, we worked on a program working with their employers to ensure that they came and were integrated back home in a safe manner, and working with the public health, particularly in the counties, to ensure that they were monitored and they were followed. They were quarantined. They stayed in self-isolation at home. And let me say that we were very fortunate that we didn't have any case. In fact, the cases we got, one or two, in fact, I'll say one or two, is when they came and the mandatory quarantines were put in place, and maybe, the protocols, the people did not follow. You remember the ministry saying that the people who stayed and did not follow protocols were then extended and given more time. But only one, I will remember, who tested positive. And they came back, okay, they were okay. Now we started the journey again. I want to say that the protocols in place are very tight, and the lead in this process has been the public health, the Ministry of Health. We wouldn't do anything without them. And even as we start to agree on the protocols, they took the lead and we took into consideration whatever recommendations they gave us. The idea is to give a very safe, secure passage to the seafarers as they come to join ship, and the others as they leave. And some of if I may quote some of them, they must have been in quarantine on the ship for not less than 14 days. This is normal for the ship owners. For the ship masters, since COVID began, particularly on the passenger ships, the crew were put in quarantine. Their temperatures were taken at designated time every day, and those records kept. Yeah. And those are some of the issues that we are looking for even now. Before a crew change is allowed, they must give us records of the crew temperature results before they come on board. They must have been on quarantine in their cabins for a particular time. They must have also COVID-free test results. There must be declaration from the master that the crew is fit to travel, because these are the same measures that we were given when we were bringing our crew back home, when now the airlines closed and we had to bring them from Europe, from the Americas. These are some of the measures that we saw being put in place. They had to have the COVID-free certificates. Then also there's something called a Seaman's Book. The Seaman's Book is based on agreements between countries. And some of these are designed to make travel much easier for seafarers. And 72 hours, even as we were bringing our crew through UK, that's some of the arranged or the agreed timelines for crew without visa sometimes, to transit a country. And those are some of the measures we've put in place. We've got transport providers who have been trained and who have been given the protocols to observe in terms of fumigating their vehicles, social distancing, sanitizers, ensuring that they carry only a minimum number of people so that there is enough social distancing. They can, they must have masks on board, they wear masks. And these are some of the measures that we've brought on board to ensure that the crew are safe as they go on board and as they leave.
Yeah.
Then we also have the isolation facilities where the crew may wait. They must have confirmed tickets from an airline to leave immediately after they arrive. And we've seen that because we were also facilitated to bring like the 390 Kenyans I told you about, we also need to reciprocate to ensure that we are part of the solutions in the maritime sector.
Do we have any foreign ship and foreign seafarers, who are stuck on Kenyan land or on Kenyan waters?
Not at the moment, no. In fact, was it yesterday? Yesterday we were able to get, because that's what had delayed some fishing vessels from going to sea to start working. But we were able to get 30 fishermen from Kenya. And, that's seafarers to board and go out, having followed these protocols very closely and worked with public health to ensure that they were safe. Now, the one I could say that we are working on right now is we have a few Kenyans that are stuck in the Americas, working with a company called Polar American Cruises. And as of this morning, we have a solution that the ship will be coming to bring them home. So we are looking early next month to have another batch of Kenyans coming, but this time not on the air. They will be coming on their ship.
How many Kenyans are coming back, on board that ship?
There we have only 7, but every life counts and everybody matters. They're desperate to come home, and the best we can do is facilitate them to be able to come. And their employer has kindly agreed that the ship will be coming to Kenya to drop them in Mombasa and also head to drop some South Africans. How
many more Kenyans will be stuck out there? Do you have that?
Now I can almost tell you that, the people who are stuck were the ones who are working on passenger ships, because as you know, passenger transport, maritime passenger transport has almost stopped. It's just that now we are beginning to see, some signs that it could arise. But the Kenyans who are working on cargo ships, those ones are still employed. Those ones are still working. The ones who went on Bahari shipping lines, they have jobs and they are working. So they did not need to come back home. And the ones who are on passenger ships, but on the technical side, they are also on board still, but that's because they are working. And the ship can never be left alone. Even when it's not, even when a ship is not moving, you still need the human element to make sure that the engines keep, running, and the ship still remains in ship. So the ratings or the Kenyans who are working on the technical side of shipping are still on duty. Those ones didn't have to come back, and they didn't come back. So that actually it is the seafarers on board the ship who are scared of us who are on land, because for them there are very strict protocols that are followed every day, and the master must keep, or rather the ship captain must keep records. For example, like I said, of temperatures taken every day. And there are protocols of what to do with a sick seafarer. So the point I'm making is, because shipping has been a very regulated industry, it's easier to adapt than us on land. When people are told to follow certain protocols, they do, because they are disciplined and they're used to that. And therefore, what I'm trying to say is that within the guidelines that have been provided by the Ministry of Health, and with strict adherence, because like I said, when we were even coming up with those protocols. The Minister of Health was very, very categorical on what they can allow and what they can't allow. For example, IMO urged countries to allow shore leave because on land, the seafarer, or rather the industry, has got facilities where the seafarer's spiritual nourishment can be catered for. They can also go for recreation and leisure. They can do a bit of calling home or a bit of, essential commodities to buy. And those are missions to seamen. If you recall, Mombasa has had a mission to seafarers for the longest time. And therefore, one of the issues that IMO requested, can the seafarers go on shore leave and, at least visit the mission to seafarers? They go swimming, they also play some games, just to relieve their mental stress of having to work in an enclosed environment. And I recall that when we were discussing these issues, one of the issues that the Minister of Health said, no, we are not ready. And of course, we respected them because we are not sure, even us, that if they go and we allow them to go to the mission to seafarers, we are not sure that we cannot get cross-contamination or we can contain them unless we bring the police to guard them, and this is not what we want to do. And therefore, while we allowed crew change, shore leave is not yet one of the issues that we are going to deal with. So just to tell you that we put in the measures, and for us doing this, you've mentioned the countries that are already doing, that signed on the first day, the 13, the ones in Europe and the big maritime players. And like I told you, for us, we are looking beyond this period, and we are looking to future-proof the economic recovery of this country by putting in place measures and policies that will allow the blue economy to play a bigger role. Okay, let me give you an example. When you allow crew change in a country, because like you said, and we were having a discussion with the Ministry of Health to tell them, countries particularly position themselves to undertake crew changes in certain territories. If you look at Mombasa, our physical location, we can be an ideal crew change for shipping lines using the Indian Ocean. Why not? You don't have to go to the end, to the Cape. They can do it in Mombasa. Yeah. And the ripple effect of that crew change is what we are looking at. If we position ourselves, because it's business for Kenya Airways, because all over the world, the aviation industry is the one that feeds the maritime sector, because ships don't go to meet their crew, so they go by air. So if we make Mombasa a crew change, then we are looking at other side benefits. The seafarer who comes to Mombasa to change their crew, to disembark from Mombasa, is the seafarer who will be the tourist, because he's got money. He's the seafarer. The ship can also take bunkers. That's the ship coming to change crew. Usually, they don't want to do only one business. They combine it with others. They could do minor repairs. That's business for our young people. They could also do replenishment of food, for whatever else. It means that my mother and your mother who are in agriculture, their food will find another extra source. I mean, you're looking at other, associated businesses. When we were having our young people at sea, I remember they were excited. And there were some who told me, oh, I'll be disembarking in Italy and flying home to Kenya from Italy. That's the kind of thing we are looking at, growing a bigger pie of the blue economy for Mombasa as a destination, because we've got the facilities. We've got the best weather around. We've got infrastructure in terms of beautiful hotels, beautiful beaches, close connectivity, very good connectivity with the aviation, because Mombasa it also receives international flights. And you're talking of the tourist facility. Someone will come in Mombasa airport Within 20 minutes, they are in an international port.
Yeah.
Within 2 hours, they can be in a game park watching games.
Yeah.
So that big picture is what we are looking at.
Since we signed this charter on crew changes, have we executed any crew changes since this Kenya became a member of that charter?
I mean, people were very interested, and information travels fast. Immediately, we told IMO that we are open, and we've had, because we wrote to IMO so that the IMO can understand and know where we are. We've managed to send some Ukrainians who were on the ship for 11 months. And can you imagine what that meant for them? Some Romanians also, they went to the port of Mombasa. Like I've told you, we've got 30 that we sent to sea yesterday. We are looking now to sign another 24 to sign off. We're getting 24 coming on board and 24 going. But the beauty also is for what the seafarer is not, the ship owner is not able to replace immediately, we've got ready Kenyans to take up the jobs. The Ukrainians, the Romanians that left, I told you, who left last week, they were replaced by Kenyans. So for us, that means a new opportunity to be able to send, to sensitize. Because as we were having the meeting to look at the, the impact and what we were trying to do, the manning agents or the people who, the recruitment agents were telling us now, giving us feedback when the ship owner is signing off a crew member, but they are not able to bring another crew because of the logistics in travel. And they're asking, would there be a Kenyan? And I remember being told that the ship owner was like, wow, you mean you've got such qualified Kenyans? So it's another opportunity to showcase what we have, the products we have in Kenya.
As we wind up, from your analysis and from your projections, as the world comes to terms that we have to live with coronavirus, how do you see the virus, or how big will be the impact on the Kenyan maritime industry by the time we normalize?
Whatever we're going through was unprecedented forever, I can tell you that. And therefore, following the guidelines that have been given by the International Maritime Organization, the World Health Organization, I see that within those parameters, we should be able to slowly recover. Like I've told you, I already have an order for 27 young people to go back to work. Mm-hmm. And those ones are going because they already have Schengen visas, which are not expired, because they are scheduled to go to Italy. Elizabeth Marami, like I told you, joining in a ship in Miami as a second officer. We're only able to do it because we put in the structure, because she didn't have to come home, and we've been able to process her paperwork. And I want to thank the DCI today, because we worked behind the scenes to be able to get her a certificate of good conduct, because she wasn't going to board the plane without it. But we were able to get it to her. And for me, it's a new way of collaboration within government. It's a new way of it's a new opportunity to put in measures to understand each other more as state department, as government, and to assist one another in terms of creating the necessary facilities. There is a glimmer of hope, like I've told you. If the jobs are opening up again, it's out of the world, because it's not that the jobs, places are full. But if Kenyans are getting, this kind of opportunity to board early, to go back early, it gives me hope that we are onto a good thing, and it will yield results.
Thank you so very much, Madam PS, for finding time to be with us on Inside Government, and we'll continue engaging you going forward on this subject.
Thank you very much. I'm glad for the opportunity, as I said earlier, to be able to explain to Kenyans what we are doing, and to encourage them, of course, to follow the protocols that the Ministry of Health has put, because there'll be life after this pandemic is over, and life, the opportunities that we had promised them, we are still working very hard to ensure that they come to fruition and they can go back to sea.
Thank you very much for your time. State Department of Maritime Affairs Principal Secretary Nancy Karigithu joining us to help us understand how, as a country, we are dealing with the coronavirus pandemic that has somehow impacted the maritime industry in the world, and you have had it from her. You have been watching Inside Government. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Always a pleasure to have you. We'll do this again on Thursday next week. Until then, have a good time.